Hello everybody! My name is Kickerlin, but you may also know me as Dino from PC2, and welcome to Ero, where our drivers are going to be tackling the oldest track on the calendar. I'm of course talking about Silverstone. Let's talk more about the circuit. Silverstone is a 5.8 kilometer, 3.6 mile circuit made out of 18 corners, 3 slow speed, 5 medium speed, and 10 fast speed corners. So the track is a really fast track, but with only 2 DRS zones, right after turn 5 and 1 after Maggots and Beckets. We will go in a more in-depth analysis once we go on board with one of our drivers, which will be held by Lapidge. The track also has a pretty rich history, with it being the oldest track on the calendar, with Lewis Hamilton taking most wins out of any driver on this track. It also produced one of the most controversial collisions of F1, probably, with Hamilton and Verstappen colliding together at Cups. But I will not say too much, because I can go on and on with all the memorable moments on this track, but we are already going into the lobby, so yeah, we are going to do that next time, if there is even going to be a next time. We have an 18-minute qualifying session and a 50% race today, like always, so it's not gonna take us a lot of time to finish, and it will hopefully produce very interesting racing and battles. Commentating alongside me is, of course, Lapidge. How are you doing today, and what strategies do you think our drivers will be using? And do you think there is going to be some rain? Hello? Never mind, he is not here. So yeah, strategies are probably going to be a one-stop, and rain is pretty common here in England. I of course do not live in England, but I do know how the weather is, and I don't know where Adam is. He's probably gonna join us a bit later on. But yeah, so like I said, a one-stop strategy is definitely gonna be possible, from softs to mediums or mediums to softs. Tire wear is not that high on this track. The only exception, of course, is gonna be if we do have some safety cars or VSCs, and our drivers might take advantage of that. Do not use hards ever, you're gonna die, and that is all you have to know. We almost have a full grid, we are missing only one driver, I think it's Yellowneck, and we do have a reserve of Owen, and I think someone else? Walter, yes, and Walter. Owen is of course the first guy out on track of everyone and of the reserves, so we are going to be on board with him for the lap. And yeah, Drake is unfortunately not racing today, and we do not have any news if he's gonna continue racing, but that means that Tuka or Bill Bass might have a shot of the championship. Tuka, of course, the most favorable of the two, as he is the PC2 champion, and if he gets a championship this season as well as his first season in PC1, that's just going to be unbelievable. But yeah, and Adam is still not here, I don't know why. Probably having some internet issues, but yeah, we are just going to be on board with Owen for this lap, and like I said, we are going to be given a little in-depth more analysis. So, Owen is now starting his flying lap, and going out to turn 1, it's average straight. That corner is called Abbey. You can really easily lose the car there, so be careful how you approach it. Farm is a fast left-hander going into turn 3, where you really have to be careful not to lock up. Going into Arena, you have to short shift to second and third to get a better to get a good exit for this next straight. We might see some overtaking moves happening right here. Going into Brooklands, it's a very hard left-hander to master. You can also very easily lock up. Going into left field, a 180-degree hairpin corner. You also need to get a good exit to be better into Woodcote and into Cops, turn 9. Cops is usually flat out if you have a higher downforce setup, but if you want to take it safely, just lift off a little bit and you're gonna be fine, and do not track extend it there. Going into Maggots and Beckets, it's mostly flat out except for turn 12 and turn 13 where you want to go down to 5th or 6th gear, whatever is preferable for you, and you need a good exit to go for the hanger straight. The hanger straight ends at turn 15 or stove, where we might see also a lot of moves happening. Now going into the 16 or Veil, a hard corner for braking. We might also see some moves happening there. Going out to Club, turn 18, the final corner, and Owen sets lap time of a 128.1. Not too bad, but not too fast, as we see that Gola actually improves and puts the fastest lap of the session, a 127.3, which is pretty good. Not the fastest lap ever, but not too bad as well. And we probably might see that being beaten. But yeah, Tony actually beats that on mediums, a 126.9, so yeah, we already see that it's gonna be beaten. And if Tony can start on these tires, it's just gonna be beneficial for him. Starting on the mediums will be giving you a better strategy, as Luke Mills actually in the Alpine puts a lap time of a 127.0, puts his car into P2. Very impressive from him, as Namirovsky actually snatches pole position from Tony, only 30 thousandths of a second faster, but he is on softs. Tony still has that medium tire advantage, so yeah. We also have the two Alpha Tauris also finishing their laps, I think, and Freddy actually put a lap time of a 127.0, 1/10 slower than Rich, so we might see a pretty tight battle happening with those two in the race. Britain is pretty known for having pretty close races and pretty tight races, not that big of a gap in qualifying and the race, so we should expect a lot of moves and different people, also battling for the win. As we see Yellowneck going on mediums, the last guy to be on mediums, but he hasn't validated his lap, so we will not see him doing any laps anytime soon. But he might give some. No, actually, that's his teammate right ahead, is Namirovsky. Namirovsky probably wanted to give some slipstream to his teammate, but he doesn't know that he hasn't validated. The only ones that haven't set lap time yet are Bale, Bass, Force Powers, Elise, and Yellowneck, so we are gonna have to wait and see what they can do as well. And yeah, we will just have to wait and see. Is Adam here? Adam?
I'm here.
Finally! Finally!
Yeah, apologies. I was connected to Discord, could hear you. You couldn't hear me.
Nope.
Steam said I'd disconnected from Steam, but I'm like, so how can I hear him talk? But anyway, I have arrived in time. So it's currently sunny in Quali, which is weird because it's, you know, Britain and it always rains. We've had sun and snow today, so you know, as you do.
As you do.
So yeah, so just a few drivers that haven't yet set time. Freddie's actually going for a second fast lap, I believe, on his soft tyres. And they don't wear too much. I think I was coming back in after a run yesterday. Oh, he's actually turned his ERS off, so he's bailed this lap. Was possibly just finishing his invalidated one just to see whereabouts he would have been, just to get that idea of how much pace he needs to find, or whether it's worth really going for the really fast runs if he's probably going to be around about 11th anyway.
Probably.
You might aim for that to do that alternate strategy. Try and do an easier version of what I tried yesterday and run it long and hope for a safety car, where you can really benefit. As we've actually got some guys coming back out again for their second run already, so Marek Znamirovsky in the Mercedes is just leaving the pit lane. He's already done one run, currently sits provisionally P1, as one of the Alfa Romeos, so that's Kenny, is just starting another flying lap, just coming through the loop now. Down to third gear, misses the apex a little bit, but if he can get a good drive, it doesn't matter all that much. And onto the Wellington straight. Oh, but he's not burning ERS, so maybe he's just put a lap in, which is that 27.9. Yeah, so he's actually out of sync with everyone else, a little bit behind. Might have been doing your trick and checking his setup 19 times. But Iron's out on the night lap, and this time he is going mediums.
Yes.
So he's going to be looking to do that alternate tyre strategy as he goes halfway to London on the exit of Luffield, just driving across the gravel, because why not, I guess. So he's going to trail that all the way up the old pit straight towards Cops, which I'm sure will be fun for the guys behind.
he's really sandbagging it at the moment. But we should also mention that Silverstone also has the slowest pit lane of any track, so you probably want to stay out late, like Adam said, and if there is going to be a safety car, you're definitely gonna benefit a lot.
Yeah,
if you do go.
This is absolutely a one-stop race unless there's a safety car. Even if you unfortunately pick up damage on lap 1, you could get a set of mediums probably to the end. They wouldn't be very nice at the end, but you could probably just about get them there. Obviously, the hards would definitely do it, and they're not too much slower. You don't really lose any time for the reduced traction that you get from the hard tires. They're fine in the high-speed corners. The only place you really lose is the exits of Vale and the loop. So you can go those if you're not confident with your tire wear on the mediums, but in terms of softs and medium tires, they do go a long way here. There's not really anywhere. There's not the hard traction zones and big braking points to put loads and loads of heat. And Bellini goes fastest. We've got 26.8. Williams.
That was a pretty fast lap time. I was on board with him all the time, as I think Bilbas is going to be the next guy to finish his lap. Or yes, Bilbas is on a fast lap.
Yeah, he's just coming around Luffield now, but he doesn't have his ERS on, so he's possibly going for a second warm-up lap here. Just to make sure those mediums are in an operating range.
Probably.
They're not too hard to heat up, but if he wants this to be his best lap, then he's not going to want to risk it really. As Neemsik almost loses it through cops in front of Bilbas, but manages to not be a Red Bull in the wall on the outside of cops, where we've seen that before.
And Yugil has also joined us, so we do have a full grid today, so that is very nice to see. we do have 7 minutes left until the qualifying session, and the two Alpha Tauris, Powers Elise, and Yellowneck have still not set a lap time, so they need to get a move on because there's not a lot of time left.
Yeah, and Neemsik's currently still on that 51.3 that he had from his first run as he invalidates through Stowe. Tries to take a little bit too much speed through there, runs wide, loses the lap, so he'll be coming back in, putting on another new set of tyres, as we've got another guy going fastest, which is, I don't actually know his name, I don't have it written down. One of our new reserves.
Walter. One of our new
yes! Walter.
Oh my god, so it's so close. It's so close between the top 9, only 2 tenths separate everyone.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, Tuka's gone and done a 26.9 as well. So we've got Matthias Jelinek in 7th place, is 105 thousandths of a second behind Pole. He's 7th.
I can already see that we're gonna have a very tight battle for the win today.
Yeah, top 6 covered by 700ths.
That's unbelievable. That is actually unbelievable, and that is what that's what I was talking about in the in-show. This race produces very close racing, and there's not really many places where you can actually gain any advantages over everyone else. So the times are gonna be very close. So in the race,
yeah, you can gain bits and pieces, but they just come back with Slipstream and DRS.
Yeah.
As currently in that top 10, we have got Tony and Freddie have done the laps on medium tyres, but Freddie's out on softs now, just coming through Stowe. About to finish his lap in the McLaren as he runs down to the Vale chicane, hard on the brakes, careful not to lock up. Obviously these guys run without ERS. Manages to take a pretty good line, carries a pretty good minimum speed down to 26.4.
That's fast.
So we're now turning up with some soft tyres on a rubbered-in track. Quite a lot of rubber gets laid down at the 2 heavy traction zones at the exit of the loop and Vale, as it's very easy to get a little snap of oversteer there, which lays even more rubber down on the track, which then gives everyone after you better exits and allows them to carry much more speed down the Wellington Straight and over the line. So we are going to see some of these times fall a little bit, I think. I think the majority of this grid is going to get into the 26s. Currently Iron's on a 26.998 and is 10th, so you need to be in the 26s if you want to start in that top 10. Although the alternate strategy here is pretty good, but there's such a small delta difference between the softs and the mediums. The most important thing is to not get held up in traffic, which is where the alternate strategy comes in strong, because you're not pitting early, you're getting dropped behind guys that are slower than you. So if you think about the guys at the front with their 26.8s and 26.9s, they don't want to get stuck behind someone that's doing similar to what Lucas and Owen have done so far. I know they're both on mediums, they're both on outlaps on softs at the moment, with the 27.6s, because you're going to be losing nearly a second a lap just from being behind them, but the gap isn't large enough that you can overtake, and the tyre wear's not high enough that their tyre's going to fall off a cliff and you're going to be able to make an easy move somewhere. So that's where the alternate strategy really pays in around Silverstone, is you don't get caught up in that traffic. Especially if you've got two guys doing it, because they can DRS train each other. If you're out on your own, you kind of get stuck not having DRS, whereas if some of the guys that have pit are all together, they're lapping at reasonably relative speed to each other, and they're going to be just dragging each other along with that DRS. But if they can make the alternate strategy work, if they can get a safety car around about lap 15, 17, somewhere around there, what I was holding out for on softs yesterday, and then pit a lap too early, you massively benefit when it comes to that train, because you just jump everyone. Or most people, at least.
Jonathan Foss and Jörgil unfortunately still haven't set lap time. There is 3 minutes left until the end of the session, not a lot of time left.
Johnny's on that lap on mediums, so he's committing to the mediums here, because he's not going to have time to do this lap, get back in and put some softs on. So wherever he qualifies on these mediums, he's going to be starting on them. Whether that means it's going to be outside the top 10, he's going to have to do a bit of a recovery drive, or if he is going to get high up the grid and have the power of that alternate strategy. Where only Tony in that top 10 right now is on medium tyres, so Johnny's going to be looking for beating a 26.9, although whereabouts in the 26.9 he lands, that could put him anywhere from 5th to 12th. Which is a bit nuts. As he comes round Abbey and Farm now and into Village. Good line through Village. Doesn't get any kick out. Very slight lock up on the way into the loop. But gets a good exit. Manages to get a good drive out of there. Straightens the car nicely. And onto the Wellington straight. As Lucas Dirkson's actually retired in the pits, so he won't be coming out again. Currently sat 16th. 27.5 for the first sector for Johnny. That's pretty good. I think that's like level with my time trial, which is a 26.8, I believe. So this could be a really, really good lap here for Johnny. As he comes through Woodcut and up towards Copse Corner. And he's in an AlphaTauri, not a Red Bull, so shouldn't be anywhere near the wall here. And he takes it pretty much flat, just about manages to keep it within track limits. Be a perfect line through there, really, as he runs all the way onto the outside curb and into Maggots and Beckett's. Just a short shift down to 7th and then 6th. Doesn't quite take to the grass as he comes through Chapel, which we have seen some guys do. And a 103.3 for the middle sector is pretty good as he's running down to Stowe. That DRS wide open, almost 200 miles an hour down there. It's a good line through Stowe, keeps in track limits, runs it very wide on the exit, but about as much as you want to keep that medium speed up. And then through Vale as Niemsik retires in the pits as well. And then through Club Corner, and that's going to be a 26.9 for Johnny. So it's exactly close. In that 26.9s. 2,000ths of a second faster than Marek. Wow.
We should also say that Joni and Bilbas also have some experience on this very track, as they also attended the Gridfinder event. Both Joni and Bilbas, so they do have a little bit of a strategy advantage and pace advantage than everyone else, which Bilbas is not really showing, but he is on the outlap, so maybe he can improve. He did that medium lap quite early though, so the difference for the track rubbering in can be pretty massive. If it costs, say, 1/10 of a second, that's taking him from 5th to 14th. So, yes. You know, if he finds a 10th, this is going to be a massive jump just for 1/10 of a second. The grid is incredibly close. Apart from Freddie at the front. Paolo's gone faster and now does a 26.6. So we'll give him a little bit of breathing room in P2, and that's going to be done for the session as he pulls into the pits. Nathan's just about going to get around to start his lap as he's just coming through Vale. They're seeing if he can improve on his 26.8. Walter's unfortunately invalidated his final lap, so won't be improving on his 26.8. Tuka's done for the session, he's pulling in. Johnny's actually gone for a second fast lap as he's cutting through Vale really nicely. You can do second flying laps, especially on mediums, because they just don't wear. And he's gone even faster, a 26.7. Jesus Christ, on mediums.
On mediums, so there's currently P3 on mediums, and a lot of the guys aren't going again.
And Jurgil is now finishing his lap, the only one that hasn't set lap time yet. Let's see what he does. A 127.0, P15.
And Iron's invalidated. Iron's 4/10 up out of Sector 2, but he's invalidated the lap somewhere. So he won't be improving and will be starting towards the back. So that's advantage Tuca when it comes down to the title fight. As Mateus Gola goes P3 for Ferrari with a 26.6, just 300ths behind Paolo for that front row.
I think Nathan Powers.
Nathan's probably the last guy on the lap. I think just coming through Maggots and Beckett's. There is an Alfa Romeo behind him. I'm not sure who that is. I think it might be Tony.
It's Tony Rich. Who is
Yeah,
also
so Nathan's just on his way now down the hangar straight and into Stowe. Some traffic on the inside, both do very well getting out of the way there, not distracting Nathan, although maybe slightly in his eye line. He gets a good run through Stowe, and he's hits that red inside curb a little bit through the first part of Vale, but shouldn't unsettle the car too much or cost him too much time. But it's a 27.0, doesn't improve.
Well, let's see if
And
Tony improves.
a 26.1!
And
Freddy's a 25.9! Wow.
Okay, that's fast.
That's a
very
duel.
Fast. So, everyone else is very close except for Freddy and Tony, who are like 7/10 off of P3, and then from P3 to P16, everyone separated by 4/10, which is unbelievable.
That's crazy. Yeah, the gap from Tony to Paolo, second to third, is bigger than the gap from Paolo to Mateus in 16th.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
So that was the qualifying session, and very close, which we were expecting. Like we said before, Britain is one of the closest track on the calendar, and Freddy is going to be our pole sitter for today's race, a 125.9, a very impressive lap time on softs. Tony finishes the front row of the grid, also very fast lap time. Borlini and Gola are going to start on the second row of the grid, very impressive for them as well, as Jonathan Foss, the only medium runner in the top 10, starting P5, and Nathan Powers is gonna start P6. Walter, the new reserve, is gonna start P7, and Tuca, who is going to challenge for the title, is gonna start P8. Then we have Znamirovsky and Owen starting in P9 and P10. We have Luke Mills and Croc starting in P11 and P12, Jelinek and Niemsik starting P13 and 14, and I don't know anything else. Because I missed it. I missed it. So, because they are too fast.
25.9, they're definitely too fast.
They are they are rushing way too much. We don't even have a real real life race. You don't really need to rush today, so I don't know why they're rushing, as we are waiting for the drivers to choose their strategies.
Do it anyway.
And
just go faster.
I mean, we can go faster and then be just late to start qualifying. We can do that, yes.
If you don't talk like you're commentating on horse racing, you're not talking fast enough.
As there we go, we are starting the formation lap, and I'm just gonna say everyone else. So Bale Bass is starting P15, unfortunate for the AlphaTauri driver, as Jurgil, the other McLaren, starting P16. Not the ideal position because of his teammate starting P1, but he will have the free choice of tire, everyone below the top 10, so we're gonna have to wait and see what they do. As Pavlakovic and Sigurd BK finish out the 9th row of the grid, and then we have Elise and Dirksen starting last. A lot of people also going on mediums. The only exceptions are Jelinek and Jogil going for softs.
If you are not in the top 10 and you are named Mateus, you are on softs, otherwise you are on mediums. Along with, of course, Jonathan Foss up in P5. So he's going to be the leader out of those alternate strategy guys. So if there's a safety car, we saw guys pitting yesterday as early as lap 6 off those soft tyres. Mediums will do a full race distance. So if there's a safety car anytime between when the leaders pit and when Johnny, Luke, Washi, and the other medium guys behind them have to pit, people like Iron, who are going to be looking to make up places in the race, they're going to get a massive advantage. Although, of course, if it's a little bit too late, that's going to play into the guys that start on the softs a little bit, as they'll be able to pit for a second set of softs, like you did yesterday, and just be way too fast for the guys on mediums to hold them off in perpetuity. That you can do it for a couple of laps, but you're not doing it forever.
Yes. And we should
They're just too good under brakes particularly into Vale. They're just too good into brakes. You can defend it in Village and the Loop because the corner cuts back at you, but because Vale's so slow, they get on the brakes and they can just take that line, carry more speed through Club, and there's not really a lot you can do. As they're starting to come back to the grid, as Kenny and Freddy unfortunately make contact at the back and will get teleported to the grid, but they were quite far around on the lap, so their tyres shouldn't be too cold. And they're going to have to be careful off the start anyway with all the cars in front of them, as there is possibly going to be carnage in front of them. But this could be a real duel for the first couple of laps between Freddy and Tony, until they settle down and maybe try and build a little bit of a gap with their qualifying pace.
As we are waiting for the final few guys to get to the grid, Lucas Dixon, of course, the final guy to do so, and we should be underway for the Grand Prix. As I think we are going right now. Yes, we are. We have 3, 4, and 5 red lights. It's a long hold up as always, and we are underway for the British Grand Prix. Looks like Tony actually got a brilliant start. He is going to have the inside line of Freddy, and we already have big crashes behind, but Tony is gonna overtake Freddy for the lead, so very good for him, as we already have a virtual safety car because of the crash behind. We think that is Luke Mills in the Alpine.
Nathan and Tuka do not have a front wing, so both will be having to pit. Now, fortunately for them both, they are on soft tyres, so they'll be able to pit for mediums. As Nathan's sort of run into the back of Kenny and spun him round for some reason. May have just been a case if he couldn't stop with the no front wing, I'm not sure. But we'll probably see a report about that afterwards. But probably. Tony and Freddy have managed to kind of get away at the start. I don't know if Paolo got caught up somewhere or if he's just building extra delta under this VSC. The gap's currently 4 seconds, but he might be able to drop the hammer when it says the safety car's coming in, while the guys at the front might not be able to. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, he's closing that gap back in now, so it's back down to about 1.5 seconds. I don't think this VSC is going to last too long. The British Marshals tend to be pretty crazy, and they'll happily run on the track with some brushes and sweep those front wings away from the Hamilton straight.
And it's also good to say that we do not have any rain clouds coming out to the air, so rain is probably not going to be imminent in this race, as we have green flags. And Freddy actually has a pretty good line to Tony, as Tony defended the inside line into Stove, but Freddy got a very good line. Tony defended the inside line again, as Freddy tries to go around the outside. Let's see if he can make this move stick. But no, Tony...
3 wide behind into Vale.
Oh, Jesus!
With Johnny, Paolo, and Mateus Gola. Mateus Gola's gone round.
Oh, that's very
unfortunate. As Paolo manages to hold on to P3.
Adam, you're lagging again. A lot. Okay, I'm just gonna take over from Adam because I cannot hear him. He's dead, okay. So Jonathan Foss has gone to P4 Borlini. Like Adam said, there was 3 wide. Unfortunately, I did not capture that, but I'm just gonna trust him. As people battling right behind with Owen, the reserve, going in for Drake, going down the inside of Znamirovsky, pushing him wide a little bit, but Znamirovsky now has the inside line to left field, and I think Znamirovsky might have a better line. We've seen Mercedes and Red Bull going side by side here in the Cups, and it has not ended well, so I hope it does now, as there was contact between Znamirovsky and Owen. Thankfully no crashes, as they still go side by side into Maggots and Beckett, but Owen will have to stay behind, as there was contact between both of them, and Heinen has unfortunately lost a lot of that because that contact unfortunately spun him, as we have Sikerbike as well after Cops spinning. But yeah, like I said, Red Bull and Mercedes do not go well into Cops and Maggots and Beckett, so probably a curse for Owen, but yeah, that is probably going to be looked after the race by our stewards, as Freddy is still leading this race. He puts a fast lap time, but Jurgel snatches that lap time, a 1:29.8, which is probably gonna be beaten at the later stages of the race once everyone pits for fresher tires, because now I don't think they have anything else to do, as we have a battle behind with Niemsik and Jurgel in the McLaren, as Jurgel loses the car, nearly spins, but manages to catch it, and is still still in the race. Thankfully, as we have a battle with the back markers. No, that is actually Gola in the pit lane. So yeah, he has gotten into the pit lane, and I think Yogil has caught up to Niemsik again, even though he did nearly spin. So let's see what he can do here. He is using ERS, he wants to overtake him just before Cops. Let's see if he can do it as Niemsik pushes him off the track. But thankfully there wasn't any major contact, so nothing happened there. But he had to take avoiding action and go off track, and he's probably gonna get a warning of that for exceeding track limits. Let's see if he can maybe get a good run off of Maggots and Beckett, as he doesn't nearly spins again, so he's really not looking good for this. But he does have DRS, trying to make another move, as I think he has done it. He has done it right before Stove, so that is very impressive indeed. For the McLaren driver, he is currently in the points. This will give him 1 point if it does finish like this, as Freddy again steals the fastest lap of the race, a 129.6, so that is also very good. Has Adam rejoined? Adam, are you here? Adam? I'm gonna take that as a no. So Adam is not here yet, unfortunately, but we do have a battle here with Berlini, Foss and Namirovsky. And Walter. Oh, Crocs has actually overtaken Namirovsky. Looks like Namirovsky got a very bad line off of Arena, and his teammate is now all on the back of him, as Namirovsky goes very deep into Brooklands. Got a very bad line, as Jelinek is being attacked by Bilbas, who is on mediums, and Jelinek actually spins right off of Luffield, which is very unfortunate for the Mercedes driver. He was looking pretty well in today's race, but this fight for P3 for the final stop for the final spot on the podium is still happening with Berlini and Foss. Foss might shake a move just before Stove on the Hanga straight. Let's see, but Walter is also closing in right behind. He has most DRS out of any of these drivers ahead, as these three are gaining a lot of time on Crocs. They are getting that gap bigger, and Crocs is soon not gonna have any DRS, as this is probably just gonna be a DRS train for the next couple of laps until people start going into the pit lane for fresh mediums or softs, depending on who started on what tire. But we do see most people being on mediums, and Gola actually pitted for mediums, which probably won't go until the end of the race, but he's probably trying to do a two-stop. We'll have to wait and see for that, as yeah. Just behind, I think Tuka and Powers are also battling on last position, but they do have a big gap between each other. Tuka, the only guy on hards, which is not gonna be good for him, as hards do feel pretty bad on this track, or on any track I might say. So do not use them at all. As we see these three also battling, Mills, Pavlovic and Dirksen, battling for P11, not the points, as there is a second and a half separating Luke Mills and Niemsik, which Niemsik is in the points. And I think we might also have a battle for the lead with Fazbe and Tony, as Tony will have DRS, but the strategic option is to stay behind, but Tony's not gonna do that. He's gonna overtake him around the outside, even though Freddy defended the outside line. So that was a pretty easy overtake from Tony, but he does run wide. That's probably gonna be a warning, but Freddy does not want to overtake him down the inside into... I forgot what corner name that is, I don't remember. But yeah, Tony actually put the fastest lap time, 1/10 faster than Freddy's lap time, so very impressive indeed. That, if you don't know, if you put the fastest lap time, that is going to bring you 1 more point in the championship. You can finish anywhere you want. In real life you would need to be in the top 10, but here in Ero you actually just need to finish anywhere, and you will get 1 additional point. You also get an additional point by starting on pole, which Freddy did. Or at least I think it's Freddy. Let's actually check. It was Freddy, so he already gets 1 additional point added to his name, and unfortunate for Tuka, who is actually battling for the championship. 27 points of Drake, who is unfortunately not racing today. But yeah, Adam is here. He has joined the lobby. Yes, hello.
I don't know what it's doing, but it's annoying me. But We haven't had anything major happen so far, seemingly. Apart from the lap 1 incident, which I did catch. Paolo's managing to hold P3 ahead of Johnny, though, which is pretty impressive.
Yes, as Freddy has overtaken Tony again for the lead. This battle is happening quite a lot in these beginning stages of the race. And as we say that, Yugil and Bilbas also battling for P8, the other McLaren driver and the AlphaTauri driver. Ooh, there was nearly contact between both of them as Freddy puts another fastest lap time, 3/10 faster than Tony's last lap time, so very impressive indeed. That is of course not going to be
trading some fast laps. It's fine.
Yes.
So this is the point yesterday in PC2 where we saw our first pit stops for the soft runners. So we'll have to see as Owen's in. So Owen's gonna pit off those soft tyres.
No, he's gonna retire. He's gonna retire in the pit lane, and that's not gonna bring a safety car because if you retire in the pit lane, it's not gonna do anything. As we see Bilbas trying to make a move on Yugil down the inside into Brooklands, and that is going to be a very easy move for the AlphaTauri driver.
Sit nicely on the exit of the corner, so no way for Yugil to try a little cutback and come at him again. So Ian making his way up through the grid, which he kind of needs to do after a pretty poor qualifying. But he probably doesn't want to get too close to Johnny in case they sort of have an enforced double stack with both being on the medium tyres. As Freddy and Tony once again going down the hanger straight. This time Tony's the one with the RS, and he's going to try around the outside in Stowe and gets ahead before turn-in, so can take his line nicely through there. As Freddy gets the first 3-second time penalty for track limits, currently running in 13th place. So with the field so tight in a few little groups now, but all sort of pretty close together, really. That's possibly going to cost him quite a lot of places come the checker flag if nobody else gets any penalties.
Oh,
really,
nice.
Whoa! As Tony's gone very wide through turn 2, through farm, gets a big kick of oversteer, which is going to give Freddy the lead, and it drops Tony out of DRS. He's going to have it for this straight, but if he doesn't get back within that 1 second, he's not going to have it down the hanger straight this time round, and it's put Paolo just right on the cusp of that 1 second window. So he might be able to burn a little bit of battery, although he does have a power disadvantage to Tony, in order to stick with that possibly. But I think Tony's going to burn quite a bit of battery here to get back within the DRS range of Freddy at the front.
And while that was
Freddy's
happening,
possibly just going to drive off a little bit.
while that was happening, Bilbas and Yugil were going side by side the whole Sector 3 and Sector 1. This is a very interesting battle to see.
As you do.
As you do. And you actually
big
missed.
Kick through cops as well for Yugil.
You actually missed Znala Mirovski and Owen making contact right after cops. As Yugil loses the backhand right after Beckett, and Bilbas now has the RS again, but Niemsik is also going on the attack. This might be a double overtake, but the straight is a bit too short to do that, as Bilbas just has to stay behind as Tony is going into the pit lane.
Tony's in.
Yes.
Tony's going for the undercut here on Freddy after he had that problem through farm. He's going to be looking to hopefully jump Freddy in the pits. But he's going to have to be careful he doesn't get caught up in traffic here, as Matej Jelinek is in from the back as well for Mercedes.
And they both are going to go on medium tires, so they are planning to go until the end, and these tires can definitely go until the end. And the only exception is, of course, going to be a late safety car. People are gonna start going for softs, but looks like people are racing a bit cleanly than usual.
For now.
Than usual, as Bilbas has overtaken Yugil finally for P7. And I think Niemsik is gonna follow if he can get a bit closer. But yeah.
The problem for Ian at the moment, though, is there's a 4-second gap up to this group from 2nd to 6th, all of which, with the exception of Paolo at the front of this train, have DRS, which Ian isn't going to have, so he's going to come under attack from Mateus and Casper behind him, because they will have the DRS down the hanger straight. And Mateus is getting ever closer to Ian through Maggots and Beckett's, just a 10th behind, so he's definitely going to get this slingshot here into Stowe. And Ian's going to have to deploy a lot of battery if he wants to defend this, so I'm not sure he's really going to want to dump his reserves this early, as he lets Mateus basically just take the position again. These guys hopefully not costing each other too much time, as Walter and Paolo and Marek all at the front are all in. So they're going to be putting those medium tyres on, which is going to promote a little group with Mateus and Ian and Casper up towards the front. As we've still got Johnny and Wadshi running on those medium tyres, now second and third. And just Freddie, Mateus, still to pit off the soft tyres. I took them to lap 15 and they were fine. So they can go a lot further than this, but you do start losing time around about lap 9 or 10 to those medium tyres. The mediums just don't drop off throughout the whole race.
Arjun again
So
overtaking Jurgil into Brooklands. And that is moved on, and behind we actually have people going side by side with Dirksen and Pavlakovic in the Williams and the Haas. And
Pavlakovic runs it wide through Luffield to hopefully get a better run here down the old pit straight. We could see a move into Cops from Lucas.
I think he's too far
Doesn't
behind.
deploy any battery, doesn't have the straight line speed without it, and just sits behind Quill. He's going to possibly look at a move into Stowe. Looking at 8th place with Luke just in front of them in 7th, so without that DRS, so he's going to come under some attack here as well. These trains are all going to be sort of like swapping around a little bit at the front.
As
And
Lucas actually got
after
a
the
very
pit stop, Tony's a full 15 seconds behind the top 10. Now obviously these guys are going to have to pit as Freddie's in at the front, as Tony's just coming through Maggots and Beckett's. So I have to see if this undercut has worked. A couple of laps on these medium tyres. See if he can take the net lead, essentially, from Freddie when he comes out of the pits. As you say, it's the longest pit lane on the calendar. Slow speed limit because it's very thin. And it's also an extremely long pit line. And the guys on the racetrack are doing full speed, which is, even with this little complex of corners through Vale and Club, is quite a high amount of speed considering Abbey is completely flat. Tony does a fastest lap, and he's going to jump Freddie here. Freddie's just coming up the hill out of the pits.
Oh, and this is going to be
Tony's
close.
just going to sneak in front.
But Freddy will have the RS for this next straight, so let's see if he can do it. He does have a bit colder tires than Tony, so he's gonna be gripping for traction. But let's see if he can make the move here, or is he gonna wait for the hangar straight, which is going to be the most preferable place to overtake. And yes, he's gonna do that, but Tony runs a bit deep, or actually that was a very interesting line.
Has half a look into Brooklands, Freddie. Thinks better of it. That corner's always going to tighten up and always going to close. You're going to have to be alongside before you get there to really make a move. Yeah, he's just going to be happy to sit behind Tony here. Tony's burnt a fair amount of DRS to make
and
that
we have a
undercut
spin.
work.
We have a retirement of Jurgil.
Jurgil's lost it on
And
the
we have a
exit
safety car.
of Beckett's.
That is
Gotta be
going
a
to
safety car, surely.
car. It is a safety
Yes.
car. And Foss has just missed the pit lane, unfortunately.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Watch you pits, Iron pits, Casper pits. I think a lot of these medium guys are going to be in at the front. As Lucas carries on as well, and so does Luke. This is too early to really get the softs. You can just about manage it, probably. Yeah, as Washi goes on soft tyres, so I'd expect Iron and Quill and Casper and the other guys that have pit, I expect all of those guys to go on soft tyres as well as Freddie's come in. So Freddie's pit again.
Ooh.
So he is looking at the soft tyres, I think, here. As Tony stays out, so Tony's going to be up 5th place on the road, but leading the guys that have stopped. He can get those mediums to the end quite easily, but he might come under a bit of pressure from the guys behind that have just put softs on. They are going to be a faster tyre.
This is...
But no DRS, 42 laps after the restart, but he might lose time behind these front 4 on their 1 medium tyres. So they're going to be... Tony's going to be hoping to clear these as soon as he physically can to essentially protect himself from the guys behind.
The safety car is probably gonna stay until like lap 14 or 13, so pitting for softs is probably the best option that you can do.
Quite a big field spread here. If there's any sort of virtual safety car or another safety car, you could very, very easily get the softs to the end in a reasonable condition as well.
And that is
Mine
why
did
I'm
just
confused.
hit that 60% wear on lap 14, I think. So you are asking a little bit extra of them to get them from here, but it's definitely doable.
But
There's Kenny stayed out as well, by the way. So there's 5 guys that haven't pit.
But all of these 5 guys are gonna lose a lot. if they don't pit now under the safety car, we don't know if there is going to be another one, and the safety car is surely a free pit stop, and you can go for softs and you can stretch them like to 16 laps like you did. As Foss is going into the pit lane, Duxon is following him. Luke Mills, I think, didn't go into the pit lane.
Kenny's
He's the
in.
only one.
Kenny's decided he's made that mistake, so Kenny's in. And
Luke Mills
Luke's going
is
to
the only one.
take the lead. He said he was going to win Hungary, which is in 2 weeks, so he's going to be possibly extending that one forward a little bit in his time plan, provided he can hold these guys behind him and somehow materialize a pit stop.
I was saying that he was gonna win today, not in Hungary, and he's doing that. But he does have to go into the
We're
pit
just
lane.
going to call the race now. It's fine. We're gonna have typical British weather, and it's gonna go before the safety car comes in. We're gonna have 4 feet of snow, so they're gonna have to call the race, which will mean Luke wins.
Yes, or God just flicks his fingers, and we just have heavy rain, and then everyone has to go into the pit lane again, and Mills still leads in the race.
Oh, imagine!
Imagine. I'm gonna do that right now. Has it worked or not?
Oh, thunder! Thunder!
I see rain on the horizon. Pit for intermediates, my lord. Luke Mill is going to the pits. No rain.
So it's possibly a strategic faux pas from Luke, but I think he kind of just has to try. He has to risk it for a biscuit, right? Why not?
I mean, yeah, but he has not been in the pit lane, and he's just gonna lose everything after he does go into the pit lane. He's gonna be lost.
Unless everybody else dies.
Into cops.
Yeah, we're gonna go. Luke's gonna go through cops, and then we're gonna go 17 wide behind, and he's gonna win the race. It's fine.
But he is gonna have pressure from Tony, who is one of the fastest. So just kill him into T1, and you're gonna be fine.
It's whatever. I mean, I'm very surprised nobody's died through Abbey yet. To be fair, safety car's in. That's a late call. Already coming around Stowe, and Michael Massey's decided that'll do. So Luke's gonna back them up a little bit here, but you can't put Vale anyway. He's gone early, so he's gone a bit before Vale, before Tony got right on the back of him. So that's gonna give Luke about 7/10 of a second as they come over the line. But you see those fresh medium tyres of Tony get him such a good exit, and he takes a quarter of a second out of Luke just around that corner.
But there is a 1.5 gap to Vostinho right behind into P3, so I think Luke did a very good job on that safety car. He just
Ryan tries a move down the inside of Village, but Paolo manages to defend it. There's brand new soft tyres that Iron managed to put on, so he's net P5 after starting a long way down the field thanks to that alternate strategy and the excellent pace he had on the mediums. He's going to be looking to get a move on here and hopefully challenge Tony, as Tony's actually managed to overhaul Luke already and gets the lead through Luffield. So he's going to be getting a wriggle on here, trying to get away from Iron before those soft tyres can really come into play once he clears some of these guys on mediums.
And I think we have people going side by side. Pavlokovic and Freddy nearly going side by side with the cops, nearly. But he backed out of it at the last second, and I think we might see
Ian and Paolo side by side through Maggots. Ian manages to get the move going into Beckett's, and goes on the grass on the exit of Chapel, but that's kind of the expected line. So he's going to have to take off now after Wojcicki in front. There's that 1.6 second gap.
Oh,
as Paolo's going to try a look through Stowe, thinks better of it, just backs out. Probably not the smartest idea he's ever had on those mediums, but he's going to be coming under heavy pressure. Everyone behind has brand new softs, and he's on those 3-lap-old medium tyres, which are going to go to the end pretty easily. Those softs might be struggling slightly the last couple of laps, as Wojcicki puts in the fastest lap with a 28.7. So he's flying on those soft tyres, and he's already up to the back of Luke after being a 1.5 behind on restart.
And Niemczyk now trying
these
to
old
make
mediums
a move
of Luke's not doing what he wants them to do, as Matej Jelinek does a fastest lap in 14th on a safety car restart. That's ridiculous.
Freddy and Pavlokovic going side by side into arena. And Freddy has overtaken, and Freddy is definitely inside the line. Maybe maybe Pavlovic can go for the move again. He does not do it. So Freddy's gonna stay here. He now has Niemsik right in front of him battling with Berlini, so they are losing a lot of time. So Freddy's gonna try and overtake him.
And watch, he tries around the outside, possibly into Cops. Luke goes defensive, and they're side by side through there.
And
no contact though. Watch, he just about manages to stay on track. Luke gave him space on the outside. And that's going to be P2 for the Aston Martin driver.
Also, Borolini and Niemsi go inside by side into Cops and Magats and Beckett. There was a little bit of a contact as Borolini crashes.
There's no way he keeps that Kaz alive.
He keeps alive. There wasn't even that much of a contact as now Freddy and
Freddy's going around the outside of Casper into Stowe. Casper keeps the position. Freddy's going to try a little cutback.
Contact.
Slight contact, I think, on the exit. He's going to try and move down the inside of Vale. Thinks better of that. Going to get the DRS next time round, so he's going to hope to make a move into Brooklands down the Wellington Straight with the help of that rear wing flap opening up. As Luke stayed within the DRS range of Wadji. Wadji's closing in slightly on Tony. But it's still that 1.3 second gap. But Luke has managed to stay in that DRS. His iron's now all over the back of him, almost pushing him through the loop. As Paolo comes into the pits and unfortunately gets a 5-second penalty for his troubles. And Luke choosing not to open that DRS, which is just going to give Iron the place. Luke choosing not to fight this because he knows he won't be able to hold him off forever.
And Freddy and Niemsik
give Iron a run on Wadji, but Wadji's also on those brand new softs.
Freddy and Niemsik battling once again as Niemsik pushes Freddy wide into Brooklands, and now Freddy trying to go off track to overtake him. He gets a 3-second time penalty. He hits the wall. He has damage of that definitely. And yes.
No, his front wing's still there. But he runs very wide through Cops. I don't think there was anything particularly wrong with Casper. He just didn't get the best exit out of Luffield.
Oh, he does have
and Freddy tried to take a move through Woodcut, which isn't a corner, but you can definitely overtake the... Yeah, there's definitely something wrong with Freddy's car. Because he's lost a second.
And now 4 people are trying to overtake
down the Hanger Straight.
Freddy. Oh my god, what is this? And now Pavlovic